Isaiah 9. The gloom will be dispelled for those who were anxious. In earlier times, he humiliated the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, but now he brings horror on the way of the sea, the region beyond the Jordan, and the Galilee of the nations. The people walking in darkness see a bright light. Light shines on those who live in the land of deep darkness. You have enlarged the nations. You give them great joy. They rejoice in your presence as harvesters rejoice, as warriors celebrate when they divide up plunder. For their oppressive yoke and the club that strikes their shoulders, the cudgel that oppressor uses on them. You have shattered as in the day of Midian's defeat. Indeed, every boot that marches and shakes the earth, and every garment dragged through blood, is used as fuel for the fire. For a child has been born to us, a son has been given to us. He shoulders responsibility and is called Wonderful Advisor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His dominion will be vast, and he will bring immeasurable prosperity. He will rule on David's throne and over David's kingdom, establishing it and strengthening it by promoting justice and fairness. From this time forward and forevermore, the zeal of the Lord of heaven's army will accomplish this. The Lord decreed judgment on Jacob, and it fell on Israel. All the people were aware of it, the people of Ephraim and those living in Samaria. Yet with pride and an arrogant attitude they said, "The brick has fallen, but we will rebuild with chiseled stone. The sycamore fig tree have been cut down, but we will replace them with cedars." Then the Lord provoked their adversaries to attack them. He stirred up their enemies, Syria from the east and the Philistines from the west. They gobbled up Israelite territory. Despite all this, his anger does not subside, and his hand is ready to strike again. The people did not return to the one who struck them. They did not seek reconciliation with the Lord of heaven's armies. So the Lord cut off Israel's head and tail, both the shoot and stalk, in one day. The Lord and the highly respected people are the head. The prophets who teach lies are the tail. The leader of the nations were misleading people, and the people being led were destroyed. So the Lord was not pleased with their young men. He took no pity on their orphan and widow. For the whole nation was godless and did wicked things. Every mouth was speaking disgraceful words. Despite all this, his anger does not subside, and his hand is ready to strike again. For evil burned like a fire. It consumed thorns and briars. It burned up the thicket of the forest, and they went up in smoke. Because of the anger of the Lord of heaven's armies, the land was scorched, and the people became fuel for the fire. People had no compassion on one another. They devoured on the right, but were still hungry. They ate on the left, but were not satisfied. People even ate the flesh of their own arm. Manasseh fought against Ephraim, and Ephraim against Manasseh. Together they fought against Judah. Despite all this, his anger does not subside, and his hand is ready to strike again. All right, there is the theme that we hear resounding through that passage. He did all of this. They didn't turn back. He's ready to strike again. He's ready to strike again. He's ready to strike again. Like, this is one of the reasons why you need to read the Bible out loud. Because if you're just reading that in your head, you do not catch the resounding crescendo and the ongoing beat of the drum. It's happening, it's happening, it's happening. You can't escape, you can't escape, you can't escape. It's just unending. And that's intentional, but it's also why I don't like it. So, in earlier times, he humiliated the land of Zebulun and Naphtali. These are all northern tribes. And they sometimes fill in for the whole of the northern kingdom. So they're representative at times of everything. He brings horrors to the way of the sea, to the region beyond the Jordan and the Galilee of the nations. We have there a footnote, anything on the Galilee of the nations. These three geographical designations may refer to the province established by the Assyrians in 7. Okay, so there specifically, the way of the sea is the province of Dor along the Mediterranean. The region beyond the Jordan is the province of Gilead in the Transjordan. Galilee of the nations, a title that alludes to how the territory had been overrun by foreigners, is in the province of Megiddo, located west of the Sea of Galilee, land of the Bible. Oh, that's interesting. I did not realize that. That's cool. So he's listing all these three things as the three regions that Assyria is going to take. The people walking in darkness see a bright light. Light shines on those living in the land of deep darkness. So is this the birth of the child is what is giving the light? I think in some ways we need to look at that, because we're going to get more of this. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. You have enlarged the nations. You have given them great joy. They rejoice in the presence as harvesters rejoice, as a warrior celebrates when they divide up the plunder. For the oppressive yoke and the club that strikes their shoulders, the cudgel of the oppressors use on them, will be shattered as in the days of Midian's defeat. Indeed, every boot that marches and shakes the earth, every garment dragging through the blood, through the fuel for fire, for a child is born. So I wanted to get to that part. A child is born to us, a son is given, is the light that is shining. And we have the two references previously to two children will come. So one of those two children, and since it goes to the sign in your household is going to be this, a young woman will give birth. We're going back to that in the previous chapter. All right, let me get caught up on chat before ads roll in here. Apokali just got home from a long night at work, but wanted to say hi and love you guys, and you're praying for you, sir. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much, Apokali. I appreciate that. Have a blessed evening and a blessed weekend. Okay, for a child has been born to us, a son has been given. Where this is so familiar, we just jumped to Jesus. So this needs to be true of the person that this is going to be born to, Ahaz, and Ahaz is descendant here. You can't use words like crescendo in the morning. Your brain ain't there yet. Okay, well, I don't know. I'm just trying to go with things. So going back to what's going on. So we had in previous chapters, ask for a sign. I'm not going to ask for a sign. I don't want to ask for a sign. Well, then I'm going to give you a sign. And it's going to be a baby in your household. And now we're returning back to that child. Okay? We're returning back to that child. And this is what people are going to say. For unto us a child is born. A son is given to us. He shoulders responsibility. And I know you probably use this in a different translation. And is called Wonderful Advisor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Okay, so let's go through this. Now, that they're all different things. We don't know where commas are in here. Dominion has come to be on his shoulders is corresponding. A burden is placed on his shoulders, but authority is also placed on his shoulders. Okay, and is called... And dominion was on his shoulders, and he called his name. The prefix verb vav, consecutive, are used in the same rhetorical sense as the prefix. So they're just talking about he called or one calls him. I'm not worried about that. Wonderful, extraordinary strategist, a wonderful... a wonder of a counselor, one who plans a miraculous thing. Some have seen two titles here, Wonderful and Counselor. However, the pattern of the following three titles contains two elements and uses the root palal and yates together, suggesting otherwise. The term could be taken as appositionally, genitive or otherwise, of species wonderful as a counselor, wonder counselor as a substantival participle, one who counsels wonders. Here is probably refers to the king's ability to devise military strategy. Okay, so I'm not going to, like, wow, look at how long that note is on Wonderful Counselor. Mighty God, here's the one I wanted to look at. Gibor is probably an attributive genitive, mighty God, though one might translate God is a warrior, God is mighty. Scholars have interpreted this title in two ways. A number of them have argued that the title portrays the king as God's representative on the battlefield whom God empowers in a supernatural way. They contend that this sense seems more likely in the original context of prophecy. They would suggest that having read the New Testament, we might retrospectively interpret the title as indicating the coming king's deity. But here it is unlikely that Isaiah or his audience would have understood the title in such a bold way. 100%. They're not seeing it that way. Addresses Davidic king as God because he ruled, and so Psalm 45 gives us this example of the king as God. Ancient Near Eastern art and literature pictures gods trained kings for battle, bestowing special weapons and intervening in battle. According to the Egyptian propaganda, the Hittites described Ramses II as follows: "No man is he whom is among us. It is Seth, great of strength, Baal in person. Not deeds of man are these his doing. They are of one who is unique." So I'm not going to keep going with that. Like, look at how long these footnotes are here, which is good to go through. So anyway, he is going to be a wonderful strategist. He is God's man on the battlefield. He is the everlasting Father. Similar use of father rather than its original pictures here. The king as a protector of his people. I think that's as far as we need to go. Prince of Peace. His dominion will be vast, and he will bring immeasurable prosperity. He will rule on David's throne and over David's kingdom, establishing it and strengthening it by promoting justice and fairness from this time forward and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of heaven's armies will accomplish this. So, the new child who is born is going to be an heir to the throne. And here is the preeminence of this king who will come. You do not need to fear your enemies because God is going to be upon this king when he comes. He's going to sit on his father David's throne. You don't have to worry about the northern kingdom. You don't have to worry about Assyria, and Assyria is going to go take care of your enemies. The Lord decreed judgment on Jacob, and it fell on Israel. All the people were aware of it, the people in Ephraim and those living in Samaria, yet the pride and arrogant attitude, they said. So they know the judgment is on them, and they are going to, in pride and arrogance, "The brick has fallen, but we'll rebuild with chiseled stone. The sycamore fig tree is cut down. We'll replace it with cedar. We're going to be bigger and better. Make Samaria great again, everybody. Make Samaria great again." Then the Lord provoked their adversaries to attack them and stirred their enemies, Syria from the east, Philistines from the west. They gobbled up their territory. Despite all this, his anger doesn't subside. This is where we get into it. They won't repent. They won't repent. They won't repent. They won't repent. They just keep turning away from God. God keeps sending them things that should cause them to drop to their knees, to turn to him, and they don't. And they just keep going, and they do not seek reconciliation with the Lord of heaven's armies. So the Lord cut off Israel's head and tail, both the shoot and the stalk. The leaders and the high-respected people are the head. The prophets who tell lies are the tail. So we've gotten rid of the people you listen to, who are also the problem. So they're gone. Now you should turn to God. You got nobody telling you to do otherwise. The leaders of the nation are misleading the people. They're taken away. Your leaders who are destroying you are taken away. The Lord is not pleased with the young men. He has no pity on the orphan and the widow. For the nations was godless and did wicked things. Every mouth was speaking disgraceful words. Despite all his anger does not subside. Like, he's going to, like, it's just, like, here's where it just keeps going on. He's going to consume the thorn bush and the briar, and then the thicket and the fire, and then there'll be smoke, and then the Lord of heaven's armies will scorch them, and he's going to fall on them. The people are going to be fuel for the fire. He's going to have no compassion. He's going to devour, though, and then they because this is happening to them, rather than repenting or devouring those on their right and those on their left. And they're going to eat the own flesh of their own arm. Okay, let me see what the footnote says there. Some suggest that his arm repointing is his offspring. In either case, the metaphor is that of desperate, hungry man who resorts to the almost unthinkable act of satisfying his appetite. Yep. Not kosher. Not kosher. Definitely not kosher. They won't. They just won't repent. Da 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 da. All right. So, when will this end? When will this relentless tirade end? We're not even done. It keeps going, and these chapter breaks are giving us a reprieve, but they would not have been here when Isaiah was bringing it to them. Okay? What we ought to do is take and read the entirety of everything we've read so far, and as we keep going in one sitting. And I've heard the saying that today pastors read 3 minutes and take 30 minutes to explain what the 3 minutes of reading did. In the ancient times, they did 30 minutes of reading, and they took 3 minutes to explain what the 30 minutes of reading meant. So you can see this with Jesus when he reads the scroll and he says, "This has been fulfilled in your hearing today," and he sits down. I mean, that's the kind of thing like, and so listen to what this has been said, and you need to be aware of. And the coming army is like, there's going to be something very short and to the point is all we should add. And I think at times that's true. Although I'm doing a lot of explaining because we're not in the original context, and we need that.